Welcome, everybody, to another edition of a Risen podcast. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Worlds. What's going to happen? Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? I'm joined here tonight with Welsh Onions, Mowgli the Cat, and ZZZZZ. I don't know your name.
Dustin. That's his
Destin.
that's
There
his
we
name.
go. How you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Excellent.
Doing pretty
So,
good.
obviously, a good talking point here is that we can all agree that Group C is the strongest group in the world, right? Nobody's going to argue against that. Even Riot themselves is saying that, yeah?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I pointing on that, I also think it's fair to say that Group B is probably one of the weaker teams that's ever existed.
Oh yeah, it's probably the weakest group overall in Worlds.
Like
I mean,
ever.
if Fun Plus and Splice don't get out of there, like,
I I
what
have
is
to
life?
Yeah, it's true. It's really rough. That I mean, I think looking at the groups, there's three actually really fun groups. I think Group A is still really like crazy, and same with Group D, and I mean, of course, Group C. But yeah, Group B is just sort of there.
I mean, it's kind of funny because by defeating Splice, Fnatic secured the second seed in Europe, which is an automatic pass to groups. They got trolled into Group C, and now Splice has the easiest group in history.
Yeah,
So when Shizuke did the draw, he actually trolled his old opponents by dumping Fnatic in. Like, it's literally lose games and do better at Worlds.
yeah. That I mean that happened so. Like I remember G2 got seeded into the RNG. Uh, not they weren't Gen G then, but SSG group
Yeah.
when they got first because they did well at MSI, but NA did much better. Which is kind of what I wanted to point on because I feel like getting third seed, there's only been in the 2 years that plans have been in effect, there's only been two teams that go through plans that have failed to make it out of groups. I
That's a really cool stat, actually.
I don't think it's not weakness. Like G2 was pointing on it. I think C9 have always said it that it's just really like you get like 5 games more than that. You get like about like 7 games to practice the meta against
Hmm.
teams that you should win against. So it's just a warm up. I mean, like C9, it's their boost that's helped them
Yeah.
get through.
I'm actually really worried for C9 this year. Like, I think that without having that, because C9 has always been known as a very synergistic, like, people positive environment. And I really do feel like by them not having that practice and that warm up time on stage together, I mean, Griffin and G2, I mean, G2 is, a lot of people would argue, the best team in the world, or at least somewhere in the top three. Griffin, people say they choke. I don't know if they're really chokers so much as just getting stomped by SKT. That's going to be a tall order for them to get out of groups this year, honestly.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one of their harder ones, but they have been shown to do it before. Like always getting out of a group with SKT, they just sort of always find a way. And the last year they got out of that. People said the group of death, but I think that was also massively due to the fact that Gen G was kind of a flaming pile of
Gen G was,
garbage.
um, I think they honestly should have just stayed home.
Like I think they were like this is going to be one of the most interesting world championships because we've seen with this MSI and last year's Worlds that it's not just oh look Korea just comes in and they're gonna win. Like I feel like they've shown
No,
that they
absolutely.
can. Like I was looking at my pickums and like really I could see any of the top 8 except for maybe like one or two of them make it through and win the whole thing. Like it's very close and I feel like it can sort of go anyone's way, which is going to be really interesting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for the games to start here in the next couple days. Which reminds me, Pick'ems do open up officially tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST.
And also, Worlds pickums are Risen pickums are tomorrow too.
Yeah.
The more important ones.
So from from Mowgli and Destin here have been kind of chilling out. What do you guys think so far? Like, obviously Group C is the hardest. Group B is kind of a joke. Do you have any hot takes from any of the groups here?
Gam gets out of Group B.
Oh,
I have that too, actually.
that's a really hot take. I mean, are you just banking on Levi just being back on his home turf and being great, or?
I'm banking on Splice being kind of garbage. That's what I'm sort of banking on. But you can go on if you want to say what Destin.
Yeah, I mean, stylistically, we saw them go up against UOL today and they got taken to game 5, and it was actually pretty close. And I think Gam is really stylistically similar to UOL. They're just they're a lot more refined. It seems like, even though they're a different region. So I think they just match up well against Splice. But
And they have the historical meme power too. I mean, they're one of those teams that's, everybody thinks like last year. Does anybody even remember like J Team or G Rex? Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but they show up, they play, they go home. But like
Yeah,
Gam, almost every year, it's like, oh, you can't count out the Gigabyte Marines, and they're like Mordekaiser bot and like Elise mid with Eve jungle. Like they just do this really weird stuff.
because I don't think LMS have admitted to themselves that they're not that great of a region quite yet.
Well, I mean, they're not even going to exist next year. That the LMS is done. That's
yeah, they're getting merged.
Yeah, the LMS is gone. So they never got
So
a chance to be a good region.
yeah, like what Gigabyte Marines is banking on is the fact that they just pull out weird things and they expect that to surprise people. They know that probably they as a team are probably going to be worse than, let's say, FPX. Like they know that. I'm pretty sure. At least I hope.
I would hope they know that. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, that's like being a gold player and queuing into like a D4 game. It's like the D4 players might not be the best players in the world, but they're still gonna stomp you.
yeah. They're still definitely gonna win. So the fact of the matter is,
But
Gam plays through the surprise factor.
I mean, Gam's also coming from the same region as Fongvu Buffalo, and they took a lot of games off of people in group stage for MSI. So
Isn't it actually like half of PVB's roster too? Like, didn't they just
yeah,
like buy the rosters so we can maybe thank Mr. Buffalo again?
thank
Not in a
Mr.
group of
Buffalo.
G2,
For
unfortunately. But I mean,
sure.
you are sort of starting to see a trend of these wildcard teams doing better. Like looking back, 2017 plans. Let me bring it up. Only 2 teams dropped a game. Oh no, only one top tier team dropped a game. Fnatic did, and Hong Kong Attitude did, and they were all 3-0s across the board except for Fenerbahce. They were actually able to squeeze through that group. But now you're seeing a lot of these wildcard teams starting to take off games, going last year C9 going to 5, this year UOL going to 5. They're just starting to get a lot closer overall with these other teams.
And
So I
I
think
think
that's actually interesting to see.
that kind of ties back to what you said about LMS. Like a lot of it is just these players being unafraid to pick their comfort. Like
Yeah.
when you saw Flamenco doing really well the other day, that's when they let BRTT just have Draven. Like who cares that Draven isn't meta? If you have 1,000 games on Draven and 5 games on Kaisa, you're still gonna make more impact on Draven, even if it's not a meta pick.
Yeah, because LMS just is trying to adapt to what, the Korean meta was and stuff like that. But they weren't ever able to create their own metas. And so if you're just trying to change to be like other people, you're never going to be as good as those other people.
Yeah,
Like
you're
you need to
definitely
do
right.
like last year what the West sort of did during Worlds and create like make the meta more fast paced and make it your own because you'll never beat people who are more practiced at this style.
Yeah, it's the whole like micro versus macro thing. NA was like last year. They're like, well, let's just win the macro game. Let's just smash everything together and go for objectives. Whereas the teams that failed, like from Korea and stuff, they were, to me, it looked like they were just sort of saying, let's just be better than these players individually. And it's like, well, sometimes that doesn't matter if you have a 5-man mid coming or 5-man collapse coming mid. Like even if you're Faker, who I know wasn't there last year, but even if you like, you're still not getting away from it. And then it's like, well, there's 3 of your tower plates, and then they're like, oh, well, we're winning in CS in the other lanes, but it doesn't really matter because our nexus is destroyed.
Yeah, I mean that's a tower plates are another big reason why the game has changed to sort of fast paced because you're able to get a lot more gold through Rift Herald or just pushing plates normally. So if you have your jungler come down, it's not only the waves you get to push in, the kills, it's also the tower plate money. So overall champions tend to get more gold, which helps out early game champions. So that's why the meta is sort of
question
adapted.
for everybody here. I'll get down one at a time. Without the changes to tower plates and the classic 10-minute clutch Rift Herald, would they make Worlds this year? Just a simple like yes or no. Welsh?
Clutch?
Yes. Without the tower plates and the 10-minute Herald, make Worlds? Yes.
That's hard.
No, it's a one-word answer.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Mowgli
say
says yes.
I'm gonna say no.
You're saying no.
Wait, really?
Destin, what do you think? Yes or no? Clutch Worlds without the 10-minute Herald. Destin.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Destin's alive. So they
I-
still make it. So I honestly think if it wasn't for the stylistic change in the game that they adapted to, I think that it would have been CLG. Personally, I think we'd be looking at CLG probably in a similar position to them right now. I think they're pretty much equally good teams. I think maybe CLG had a higher ceiling if they were like all firing on all cylinders, but I do think that the meta certainly suited Clutch and actually really propelled them, especially with like how quickly they adapted to Kiana this year.
I mean,
yeah.
the thing is, we just don't know what the meta would look like if that wasn't the case, and we don't know if they would adapt to that meta instead. Because they adapted to this one pretty well. They adapted enough to make it to Worlds over like legacy teams like TSM. So
I just
you have to believe that there's something in their org that works to some extent. But I think
there's
that's
also-
why, in my opinion, they would have made it either way, or they would have had a decent chance at least to make it either way.
Yeah, I mean, we've also seen teams that go, "Hey, Clutch goes for Rift Herald at 10 minutes," and then they counter it, and then Clutch is still able to come back and control the mid game really well.
Or they just
Like,
stomp them at the Rift Herald.
Yeah, like-
exactly.
I mean, that was more cheeking off wins or like that. That sort of 100% won them their game against TSM, the first quarterfinal, because they had no time to adapt, which is I think one of the big weaknesses of CG. Which I did the math, like I don't know. I think they played like 20 some odd games in the just playoffs. They played like no, they played 6 best of 5s, three of which went to 5 games, and the
Yeah.
other 3 went to 4. So there is just like reels of footage of CG, which I think is one of their big weaknesses because they are kind of predictable, but you still see them here. I think they're just a really good best-of-5 team, which kind of is hard in a group where I don't really think you're getting to the stage of best-of-5s.
You know, it's funny you mentioned there being a lot of film on CG because of how many series they had to play to get here. That's gonna be something kind of scary about Fun Plus Phoenix, is they're not gonna have to show any strats going into the best-of-5 series.
Yeah.
Like this super dominant LPL team that nobody's gonna really have a read on.
Like I have no idea what this team is. I play
I was gonna say
LPL.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
LPL is the region that I just out of all of them, I just do not pay attention to at all. So that's also due to that. But
I mean,
I've never heard of this team before even.
I tried to follow like the LPL. I think I'm probably more in the loop than probably like 80% of people that actually follow the esports scene. But FPX, they just draft whatever and take it whatever. I'd say they're very close to G2. It's kind of like G2 mixed with IG because they're like G2 in the sense that they'll put whatever wherever, but they're also like IG where they're like, I'm just gonna fight now. It doesn't matter if it's like 1v5. We're doing this. So I think that's gonna be a make or break for them. Like, is there any like jungle going to be able to 1v5 when they decide to pull the trigger? It's they're super wild card. Like, their mechanics are amazing. Their objective control is amazing because they all seem to be friends and communicate. And if you watch their post game footage, they're always like happy and laughing together, like G2. But can they like calm down that sort of like super high paced like LPL style and actually like reel in some games in their group? Yes. In the like in the knockouts, I don't think they're just going to roll the whole thing like a lot of people think that just because IG won last year that LPL will win again this year.
Yeah, like even looking at the groups, there's a lot of like there's I'm gonna say like one team in each group that's just sort of a wild card. That like I feel like it's Griffin in Group A, and in Group B it's Funplus, and Group D is Damwon, and Group C I don't really know, maybe Clutch, but it's just sort of these teams that have not been tested at the world stage really. Like we have no idea. Like Damwon had plans, but plans are really not that great of a way to judge a team's skill.
Yeah, I mean, Damwon was, in my opinion, the strongest play-in team, and it looked like they were just toying with their food in a lot of situations as well. Like Nuguri was taking Klepto top lane just repeatedly, like trolling his opponents.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he was doing in solo queue and EU. He was literally just getting clubbed every game. So it's just like it's hard to tell, like how these teams are gonna do. Like again, like people call Griffin chokers. IG even is a big question mark because they're sort of like clutch but better in just the way that like if they show up they're really good, but if they're not showing up they look like the team of 5 solo queue players. And
Absolutely.
so that's sort of their big there's just a lot of big question marks in my opinion, because I feel like it's so spread thin. Like I could see so many iterations of Group D happening, so many iterations of Group C and A. B is the B. There's only really a few. It's either Gam or Splice second, in my opinion. I don't think much other in that group is gonna change. But like A, C, and D, I can see really going anyway.
Dude, what if FunPlus just inherits the EDG curse and just shits
Oh
the bed?
no! Oh no!
I mean, who
I would
knows?
hate to see it actually. Honestly, they are so hyped by their region. Like they were posting their mid laner. What is it? Doing B, I believe. He posted where he had 25 million viewers on his stream. Like
Holy shit.
that is an immense amount of hype. Like if they just drop, I think that actually hurts the region. Like I mean, the LPL is bringing in a lot of people, a lot of revenue, a lot like of jurisdiction to Riot over in China. So I don't want them to just inherit that curse. That would be devastating, I think.
We'll
I
see,
mean,
man.
and it would be really bad for world's viewership overall if we lost all of our people, like a specific region. If any region doesn't make it, that's going to hurt viewership, but especially China. I mean, if they don't have a single team make it out, that's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, IG has a pretty good chance, and Royal maybe they have a good chance.
I don't know that
That
that can go 100 different ways. Honestly, I do think that SKT will make it out of that group, though. I don't know. I can't
yeah,
predict
for sure.
it at all. I'm not even going to try, but I do say that even if it's like a 3-3 with a tiebreaker, I sincerely think SKT will claw their way out of there.
Yeah, I don't know. SKT somehow like did really well at MSI group stage, and then immediately got knocked out by G2.
In
And
one
then
of the best of fives in modern history. Not just
yeah,
like immediately got knocked out. I mean,
just
they gave them a run, and
yeah.
they made a roster change since then too. Effort's been performing really, really well.
It's just I wish we had maybe second seeds in MSI just to make it like a little more. Instead of saying we only know how one team performs, get like a
Yeah,
better idea of how an entire region is doing.
and if we ever do want to change like the rating system in the future, that's the kind of way we would have to move. Like if we wanted a real international rating system where like the best teams actually do get to skip straight to groups, that's the kind of thing that we're going to need to develop in
Yeah,
the future.
that's the best
But
way.
that's a conversation for another day. I actually have a Risen set that I have to go to here in a second, so I'll just toss out two hot takes real quick. I love the guys, but I don't think TL are making it out, and I'm gonna be an SKT fan this year. I think that's my deal. So thank you guys for having me. I will let you guys round this out. Doesn't mean it's over, just means I unfortunately have to bounce.
If you want to post your for like your the two teams you think are getting out of each group, when we go for our predictions, we can read them off for you.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do right now.
I'll do that really quickly.
Okay, so we were sort of looking over it together who we think is gonna uh make it out, and we had really similar uh whatchamacallits,
Pick'ems.
pick'ems, yeah. So for Group A, I said it's gonna be G2 first and C9 second. That's a hot take for a lot of people. Because I feel like people think that Griffin is just going to come in, but I'm just going to give it to C9 due to the fact that they've just always been internationally well-rounded. And I think, like, if you think about it this way, if G2 just goes and beats Griffin in 2 games and they both get 2 games off HKA, then they're both tied 2-2. All it really takes is C9 taking a game off Griffin or taking a game off G2 that can really, because you're only playing 6 games. So stuff like that can really sway the whole entire group. And I just feel like C9 has more of a chance of taking that 1 game off G2 or 1 game off Griffin than Griffin does.
Yeah. Or even HKA could like play spoiler. You know, LMS is at one time they were known as Korea's kryptonite.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of what the region does at this point. I feel like they just take off a game or two to sort of help decide groups. Like that's what happened to TSM in the quote unquote group of life against Misfits and Flash Wolves that they would have gotten out of if it wasn't for a tiebreak. I mean
Yeah.
a loss against LMS.
So I have the same group A for the same reasons.
Yeah, and then Tame said he has G2 and Griffin, which I mean I can definitely see. Like I don't think that's really a hot take at all. I think everyone can agree that HKA isn't going to make it out of that group, but I think it's kind of just between C9 and Griffin.
Yeah, for sure.
And then for Group B, I have FPX and then Gigabyte Marines.
Wait, who does Mowgli have for group A?
Oh, I don't watch Pro League basically at all. I watched a few NA games and a little bit of play-ins, so I have no idea about most of these teams. But
Just pick the logos.
definitely G2 Cloud9 then. G2 logo is Smurf, and I want a skin of G2, and I like blue, so I want Cloud9 to win. So yeah.
For sure.
That's the
Who
IQ.
wants another red skin? Honestly, we have enough SKT skins.
That's
Dude,
true.
Not wrong at
So-
all.
So who do you have for Group B?
Me?
Uh,
I'll go first. Whatever. So I don't know any of the team like the Fun Plus Phoenix or the J team. So I just want Gam and Splice.
okay. That's
Gam
Oh.
Gam because they
Take
play
it.
like spicy shit. And I just want to see some fun games. And Splice
Oh,
because
no.
I mean I don't know, man. I know the brand, so and I don't know the other two, so that's why.
That's a hot take, dude. Number 1 seed out of China does not make it out of the group of life.
Which one is the Chinese team? J team?
Fun Plus.
Oh, Fun Plus. Okay.
Who do you have coming out?
I got Fun Plus in first, and Gamma in second. I think it's gonna be. I don't know. I think it might be a tiebreaker, but I think Gigabyte Marines are actually just gonna be pretty good this year.
Yeah.
They have a really strong top side.
Yeah,
and
I
then-
think that. I mean, I haven't even seen their games. I'm just giving it due to the fact that Splice looked just like I think have looked really weak, and they don't really have anything that sets them apart. Like they don't have like even Clutch has that possibility to pop off. Like I feel like Splice just doesn't have that for me. I think they're just a mediocre team. They don't have anything that the Gigabyte Marines have that can claw out a few wins. And then Group C is pretty standard for me. I just have SKT RNG. I think Fnatic could maybe squeeze through that group, but Reckless Vuzy, man.
yeah, I don't. I actually have RNG in first and SKT in second, just based off of what we saw at MSI groups. It seems like Korea doesn't really do too well versus China, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see Fnatic really doing anything. I think Fnatic and Clutch might even tie for last place. Like they might just go 2-4 each.
I think that might be that's probably smart.
And
Be
here's
very
my
disappointed.
completely logical and not random picks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also SKT and RNG. Because hear me out. Last time Western teams sent a lot of teams to playoffs, it did not work out very well. Okay, we didn't win anything. So if we only send G2 and maybe TL, we have a better chance.
Oh, then I forgot to say, tamed for
Oh yeah, Tane wanted SKT RNG as well.
yeah, and he for the group before he wanted FPX
So I
and
don't know,
Spy.
like I know SKT and RNG are good teams, and I know Fnatic is a good team, but from what I've heard, that Fnatic is not as good. And I mean, Clutch is a bit of a joke, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I think they can squeeze a win or two, but I think the chance that they get out of that group, if they get out of that group, I don't even know.
wait, how about this? If they get out of group, I'm doing a 24-hour cat cam.
Oh, poggers. Dude, I don't know. We might actually be sleeping on Fnatic. They played 2 best of 5s against G2 and took them to 5 games both times.
I mean,
The first
Yeah,
I
time
think
was
we
a
all agree
reverse
that
sweep.
if somebody's getting out that's not our picks, it's definitely Fnatic.
Yeah.
I think
yeah,
Fnatic has contention for the to get out. I don't think Clutch has a single chance.
Fnatic Clutch. I'm changing my pick. No,
Alright.
yeah.
Yeah, use that for your actual pickings, dude. Do it.
for sure.
Let's see how
My
well that
my my
goes.
regular pick'ems always has all Western teams getting out of groups.
I just pick based on cool logos, honestly.
That's one
Like if I
person.
win pick'ems, I get Spirit Guardian on my main. That's all I get for getting every single thing right.
Wait,
Tragic.
just give right your money instead, man. They need it. Did you see the animation for the world song, man? They need more money.
The video
So
looked so last minute.
I like the video personally,
I thought some of
but
it was cool, but
uh, and then for Group D, I have TL and IG, and then Dem1, and then AHQ.
I believe I also had TL in first, probably IG in second. My only hot take was Damwon gets last place with
Yeah, like
AHQ in third.
the thing is, I just think TL's style completely outplays Dem1 style, and I think IG they already beat IG, and IG is in my opinion declined since MSI.
Yeah.
So like an AHQ like they are a first seed, right?
What are they? LMS?
Yeah, they're LMS.
If LMS only got,
2019 summer.
yeah, they have to be.
Yeah, they're first seed. So that's like I feel like they could like we could be sleeping on LMS. They could not be that bad. But I don't know, and I just think IG will have a bit of a resurgence. I mean, they are the former world champions, but I have them getting through. I think they'll do it over Dem1.
Someone in chat said, in an interview with Team Liquid, members of Team Liquid said that if Damwon gets into their group, then TL will have to fight with IG for second.
That's kind of funny.
That kind of matches up with what the coach for Damwon. He was in an interview and he said that they haven't even been met in scrims. Apparently, they're just wrecking everyone in scrims. But they also looked super sweaty in their best of 5.
Yeah, they did not. They didn't. I feel like losing a game to LK, which is one of the weaker, was definitely one of the weaker second seeds.
Yeah,
Definitely a little shaky.
one of their like in 2 of the wins I saw, it took them way more time than it should have, and LK legitimately just didn't make any plays. Anytime Damwon would walk up to them, they would just walk away, and it still took them forever to close out the game. But oh,
Yeah,
maybe
it's
maybe it's just
you know,
nerves.
yeah, that's true. But I think the chances, number one, Damwon was just boot camping in Korea. They didn't. So I don't even know. The chances that TL and Damwon have scrimmed are kind of slim, in my opinion. But we'll see. But then I did a little bit for myself. I just said I was going about just how the overall regions are rated. In my opinion, I feel like it's really impossible to rate the regions. I feel like it's just like it could be anything.
Yeah, there's
So
a
I
lot of
just said,
stylistic matchups.
yeah. So I was just saying overall, I think EU is a little overrated as a region right now. I think they're definitely good and they're definitely top tier, but I don't think it's like, okay, G2 just comes in and wins. I don't think. And then I said Korea is kind of overrated as well. I think people are just acting as if last year's Worlds and this year's MSI just sort of never happened. And I feel like that's a little ignorant, in my opinion. I feel like saying that every Korean team is just getting top of their group or is just a little. I feel like it's definitely possible that it doesn't happen. And I said NA is very, very slightly underrated. I don't think they're as bad as people put them out to be. I think again, C9 got quarters, TL did make finals. People sort of sleep on those achievements and place them with the fact that, oh, like they say, IG underperformed and all this stuff, which kind of just shows on their achievements. And I think LPL I don't think is underrated or overrated at all. I think
Yeah.
they're like
I don't,
perfectly just like even. I don't think they've been given higher expectations or lower.
yeah, I don't really know how I can rate the regions, but just going off of last MSI, I remember like a big takeaway I had was that Team Liquid and SKT had like very similar styles, but Team Liquid was just like worse than SKT at the playstyle. And then it seemed like G2 was slightly worse than IG at the same playstyle, but they were good against each other. So like it seemed like SKT and Team Liquid did good into the other styles. So even
Yeah.
though Team Liquid was like baby SKT, they still beat IG 3-1. So Griffin, if I think Griffin plays more like an LPL team though than they do an LCK team. So
Okay, well, I think that's gonna about wrap us up for this podcast. I think we're gonna be doing one after groups, pre-knockouts, and then probably a finals one. I'm not 100% sure. But good luck with your pick'ems. Make sure to have your dog pick them, not you, because the chances that they get them right is probably better
Wait,
than yours.
but dog? Wait a
Oh,
minute.
sorry.
You can't be saying
Or a
that while I'm
cat.
in here.
Okay, I have 2 dogs and 6 cats, so I'm unbiased.
Sounds like you have more cats to me.
Yeah, okay, but like 3 cats equals about 1 dog in size.
It's okay to be wrong. It's fine.
Okay. Well, see you guys later.
Korea sucks.